But now you have given computer an eye. Okay. So it started getting vision, and that's where it becomes started getting interesting, right? So though everybody's asking, is it useful, not useful? So a lot of business cases will come in. Uh, so especially in fraud detection, image recognition and things like that, right? That wave continued, but 2023 last year, what has come to us is quite different. So if you're in 2013, basically, and you want to use AI, basically you must be working in a Google AI lab or maybe in Stanford or places like that, right, where you have access to all these machines, coding, and TensorFlow and or whatever libraries and languages are required. You are there, right? So only scientists were able to use AI, right? But you look at 2023, what OpenAI has done is that this time they have democratized this, right? So this time it has come to you in a form of a platform. So even artists are able to use it. So that's the difference. Okay. So last time you have to be scientist, right? You're working in a Google AI lab and things like that. Now and everybody can use it, right? So now it has come in a form of platform and seems to be doing a lot of things, which is very interesting, right? You can write poems and whatnot, right? So current AI situation is exploding, right? So as OpenAI opened up the things, right? You have Google coming in, Facebook giving their models for free. Google today announced a Gemma model, which is now open source. So as it becomes more open source, it will become more interesting and things like that. So it's a new age really in software, right? So in terms of education, I will say that everybody is actually getting educated what it is, right? So the whole goal is basically you're trying to create artificial general intelligence, right? Which can actually write some program, create a product, create a design and things like that. And you may have seen some demonstration of its capability of writing some Python program.
So
And
Gaurav, if I can just come in, if you are okay,
yeah,
right? I
yeah,
think
yeah.
there are two terms that you're using. The first one is what everyone uses called AI. And
Mhm.
right now you brought in another term, which is AGI, Artificial General Intelligence.
Hmm.
Can you demystify in a short, in a simpler way
Well,
for
yeah.
everyone?
So, see, artificial general intelligence is the ultimate goal of all this thing, right? So, AI is just a path, right? It's a sort of subset of that, right? But when you think about AGI, it's something you define what you call super intelligence. Okay, a super intelligence is something which has such a cognitive ability far beyond the capability of any man born so far or to be born, however clever. Okay, so that super intelligence thing is like far superior to any human being, right? And creation of new thing and idea is also an ability of a human being, right? So it is assumed that super intelligence will be able to create new things, make new products. So hence it will write code and rewrite the AGI itself, right? And so and so forth in loops. Basically, it will improve in such a way that the capability of the computers will far exceed the human capabilities, right? And that's what is called singularity, right? That is your artificial general intelligence, right? So it will be able to do math, science, physics, whatever you ask, right? And actually create a new supercomputer or whatever, right? So that's where people want to head, right? So that's called artificial general
And
intelligence. If you look at
what does this mean for educators?
Well, one thing I'll tell regarding education, right? So basically, you see, education, you need some fundamentals in place, right? Which you basically do in your secondary school, right? And then on top of that, depending upon your interest, basically, you can pick up a subject like your maths, arts, or whatever, right? Uh, I think I have seen the syllabus for Indian secondary school and other things also, right? I would suggest that, I mean, I think that it is just degrading rather, right? But the way the technology is going, it is going in the other direction, moving very fast, and you will see in next 3 to 4 years it will move very far away, right? So there's a lot of catch up has to happen, right? You have to accept how the world is changing, right? So there will not be some rudimentary jobs. I mean, people are talking about it already, right? So education is like the one purpose of the education, especially in India, is to basically get a job, right? So I think people who are left behind will find it extremely difficult, right? So until you actually get
Left
on
behind of what? Left behind of what?
left behind, so I'll give you example. For example, you don't use Google search, right? So you are just go to the library and read books, right? So the person who uses Google search, with an intention to let's say learn physics, right? He can read the science paper and whatnot, right? Some videos and things like that, right? So that is a technology which opens up an avenue for learning, right? Search opened up that avenue for learning. Yeah. Now, with an access to a powerful thing like AGI, it is also opening up an avenue for learning, right? So you should be watchful of where it is taking you, how it can improve your skill set, how it can, sort of energize your learning and make it faster, right? So I think adopting to the technology and figuring out that what is how it is happening and how we can use it to improve ourselves, our education system, as well as educators themselves, right? So for simple example, you can ask AI that I want to explain to the childrens what an angular momentum is. Can you give me with a simple example and things like that? It comes up with a very nice answers, right? So, you can use that in that sense to, come up with better examples, a better way of demonstrating things and things like that, right? So it's up to you to use. But I think this technology is the consumer technology is going to be there. The wave has just started. So earlier people adopt to it, not only educators, but I will see the students adopting it faster than actually we do. Yeah, so they will go there and do. I've heard that they're already doing that, right? So typing the question, getting the answer, things like that, right? So that's a responsibility factor of it. But I think the technology is there. Uh, so and it will become much, much, much powerful day by day, right? So just now, I think last week only go OpenAI released a model where you can type in a text and it will create a video, right? So that's fascinating. So it will keep on improving. I think it will come into the voice as well in this year itself, right? So it is
Okay,
actually
Gaurav,
going.
can I pause you here for very quickly? Is that okay? I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
what Gaurav is has really opened up is the pace at which the technology of AI is changing, and that's something which is opened up new opportunities and also severe challenges for people who are not catching up, right? So that's one of the things. And in the field of education, as he's saying, that people are now using AI or something called AGI, artificial general intelligence, which has got more intelligence and it can be used by anyone. It's far more intuitive. You don't need to be a scientist. A generalist can use it on those interfaces and can do big things, right? So that's the short message. I want friends to share the results of the quick poll. I hope you can see the on your screen. Now, for the first question, right? Are you actively using Chat GPT? 40% people are using actively Chat GPT. 30% are using it sometimes, and another 30% are have not used, right? And for the second question, again, have you used any other tool other than Chat GPT? 40% people have said yes, which is the same, 16 people who have said yes, and the balance have said no. So we are there now. Just to highlight, there are. If I ask Gaurav, how many AI tools would be available right now for consumers?
It's exploding, right? So all that the entrepreneurs are coming up with ideas, with use cases, you will see it will explode. Yeah. But a
Yes.
couple of them I want to highlight which you can start using it immediately for free, like Copilot, right? So basically in the Edge
Yeah.
browser, yeah, they
Yeah.
have integrated the OpenAI as well as Daily model, right? I think Google will do the
Yeah.
same with the Gemini model with the Chrome browser, things like that, right? So it will
So just a
democratize the.
question for all the, Gaurav, just, I'm sorry, I'm barging in. Just a question for all the educators here. How many of you are actually using Copilot? If you can raise your hand, then it will come, it will be for raise your hand or thumbs up, are you using Copilot? Copilot? So Mandeep is of course using Copilot. Mandeep, right? Anyone else who's using Copilot? Okay, so Copilot is extension of Chat GPT on my. It's a solution by Microsoft, and a phenomenal solution. And there are Gaurav, go ahead. So yeah, Copilot the test I did.
Copilot you can simply use by downloading Microsoft Edge browser like you have a Chrome, right? So on the right hand
Yeah,
side, if an icon just click there and you start asking questions, makes images fantastic, right? Uh, Another thing which I saw recently is Adobe has AI assistant, so you can upload a PDF document, let's say research paper, which is up to 120 pages, right? And it's complicated stuff. You can simply say, summarize it for what it says, and you can just question answer that, right? So this kind of things are already coming in. There are many tools. You can go to follow certain Twitter handles, and you will be surprised. Like every week it is coming. And now the big boys like Google will do some of the things. The Microsoft is doing. I think it will go into from the text. It will go into the audio and video, right?
Okay,
So
anyone who's using AI for image generation or video making, teachers, friends, anyone, have you tried any of those combinations? Okay, I got one thumbs up. I'm just trying to figure who's okay. Mandeep, okay, so great.
Vandana Lal.
Vandana ma'am, you are using it for
Hi,
image
sir.
generation. Hi, hi,
Yeah,
how are you?
I'm absolutely fine, sir. Actually, I was a bit occupied for the Adobe workshop only. Then immediately I logged in to this one. We are under this is our third one. We have total six. So we are doing it. We are learning. We have been learning to generate. I have generated my study material for business studies, and I have published it
Yeah,
also. I've learned, and we are gradually,
phenomenal,
yeah. And
phenomenal, right?
apart from
So yeah.
many more things we are doing, sir.
Fantastic. So I'll pick your brains on this. So Gaurav, can I come to a question? And I think Vandana ma'am, I'll once Gaurav is done, then I'll come back to you on the same question. Right.
Yes, sir.
So here it is, Gaurav. Basically, we have this family of educators who are there right now on this audience. My question is, how can teachers use AI to enhance academic outcomes?
Uh, well, the one thing is that whether teachers will use it or not, students will definitely use it, right, to answer questions. Okay. Now, I think
Of
one of
course,
the
yes.
yeah, so one of the clear use case for the teachers, which I feel is that, and I've done it so many times, that you can refine your content, right? You can refine your presentation using the AI models, right? So the example which I gave, right? I want to explain angular momentum to a 10-year-old kid, right? Can you try and do it in that way? So it gives you a very nice response, right? If you go to DAL-E, basically the Copilot itself, you can write your concept, right? It will generate a relevant image, right? So it can really superpower you in terms of explaining things, understanding things, and then presenting it to the world, right? So I think everybody should use it, right? Depending upon the context, whatever you teach, right? So there are a lot of there. So, for example, suppose a teacher is using Google search, right, to refine the content. They have to go and basically do a lot of link clicking, searching from here to there, right? So that all will vanish, right? So it can deliver and actually help you prepare a very good content in the first place. Second thing you have to be cautious about is that it is sometimes hallucinated, right? So it can give a wrong answer as well. Okay. So it's not there to be
Yeah.
there. Yeah. So, but I think in terms of content preparation for the class preparation, for the material preparation, for the question preparation, it will be a really very handy tool which can bring in a lot of efficiency in the teaching itself, right? And
Okay.
and if you actually introduce this to your students, right, they will get any which ways introduced to this. Okay. So if you introduce to your student how to actually use it in a correct way, right? I think that is also a valuable contribution you can do.
Okay. Can I just step in, Gaurav? And
Yeah.
I have some interesting, thoughts or chat messages on the chat box. Urvashi Bharadwaj, right? Use text to image or video in Adobe, right? Madhuri Gaud from Hyderabad, she's writing about auto draw facility. Uh, anyone who, Vandana ma'am, how are you using it? Vandana Lal.
Yes, sir. Actually, text to image, we have learned this that you can type, for example, I saw a rabbit along with butterflies and a
Yeah.
pigeon in a
Yeah.
forest. You
Yeah.
just type the text and
Yeah,
image will be generated. So this
right.
is, yeah. So this is text to image using Adobe Express.
Yes, yes.
And
I'll tell
generally,
you what. I
yeah.
asked, by the way, I can share this thing. Okay. Let me share this thing and let me put this to all of you. In fact, and Gaurav also, I did this on Copilot and I said that make me this bunch of sunflowers, right? And it should be like a half fried egg on the top. And I got some beautiful image. by the way. Okay, so I really want to share this after once I'm done on the chat or in the WhatsApp group where all of you are there, and then we can have fun. But the second thing that I want to do is to put a caption contest and run it on your school on that image. So that's the second thing, and I'm having a lot of fun. By the way, I have questions for educators. Are you using AI for becoming a better teacher other than just content? Other than content, right? Anyone can go. So I can see Vandana Lal raising her hand. Vandana, can you just step in? Yeah.
Yeah, it's not only, see, children are using AI to
Yeah.
their benefits, not only
Hmm.
in context of education, more
Yeah.
of gaming. But we as
Yeah.
educators have to be much more responsible because, you know, AI is giving us so many options where we can create games also. We can
Hmm.
create a lot of quiz also. We can create a lot of, you know, flashcards
Hmm.
which is going to be very very interactive with this,
Right.
so we can use it for their benefit. And definitely when we are using these tools
Hmm.
with a hands-on experience,
Hmm.
definitely, you know, we are going to learn so many things. It's very very interesting because
Okay.
yeah, very
So,
interesting,
so,
sir.
so thank you. Gaurav, I want to come to you and I want to take you back to one of our conversations that happened in the year 2009-10,
Mhm.
when you were making that pitch on intuitive learning module to S. Chand and company, if you remember.
Yeah.
The nice self-learning, uh, self-feeding mechanism that you guys had developed, both of you, right? Now, just don't stay there. But this whole world called personalized learning has evolved, and that's the need, right? So, for example, educators in the same class, there would be students who would be at different paces of learning, right? Or in the same class, there would be different students would be at different levels of understanding, and that really is one of the big challenge which I as educator face, or when I was student on the other side I faced. I was sitting in class where there were people who were far ahead than me, who in terms of understanding the concept by teacher, or maybe I was ahead of most of the guys in the class in terms of understanding that concept. Now, if teacher pays more attention to me, the rest of the students are left behind. If the teacher does not pay attention to me, then I become disengaged, right? So personalized learning is the big whole domain which has been a challenge in a mass model of education. And all educators, I'm just posing this challenge and putting it in front of you. I'm sure you would have faced this challenge. You agree with me. Do you think AI can help this cause?
You asking me?
Gaurav, yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. See, the AI has this general ability to do things at scale, right? So the it really depends upon how you pose the question, right? So you say, can you explain me angular momentum so that I can tell it to a student who is in like 10 years old. Can you explain me angular
Hmm.
momentum in a way so that I can teach it the engineering student? You will get different answers. It's a personalized answer, right?
Hmm.
And basically you
Hmm.
can do this at scale, right? And
Hmm.
eventually there will be bots or methodology. Basically, you will be able to do it in real time, right? So like for me, I'm a more of a right brain learner, so I'm a more visual person, right? So until you show me the chart, if you show me the chart, I will know the trend, right? But you just show me in Excel those numbers, I can't,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So people will adapt to that kind of a thing, and given the capability of these models to generate different kinds of answer for the same topic, right?
Hmm.
Depending
Hmm.
upon how you ask it and what is your taste, right? I think will matter. So people who are more visual will upload some image and say, what is happening and things like that, and can answer all those things. All these capabilities are getting developed. Earlier, it was not possible because to create answer at scale and in real time is difficult, right? So it's now doing the things. So I think there will be hugely impact in sort of personalized learning tools, which will come into will become more feasible going forward.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Great. So thanks, Gaurav. By the way, educators, one of the things, yeah, Urvashi, you have, you are on the same page as me. Would you like to express that question and then say your thoughts? Urvashi Bharadwaj? Can I see Urvashi Bharadwaj, who, she's written some, nice stuff. Can you just express your thoughts on the mic? Every, Okay, so I can't hear Urvashi, and let me speak on her behalf. She has put a nice comment, and she's saying that look, one of the things it can do is it can make assessments easier, right? So through AI, we can assess each and every step of the answer that student has written and do all that stuff. Now, teachers, here it is, and I've been interacting with you for the last 1 or 2 years, and one of the things that I figured out was the amount of time you have to spend in assessments, checking the answers, checking the answer sheets, right? And frankly, it's drudgery, right? It's a hell lot of concentration is required and to do, and then you have to do marking and all that. Now today, I'm not sure how many of you are actually doing assessment checking with AI tools. Anyone who's here doing assessment checks by AI tools? I'm looking for thumbs to be raised. By the way, I ran this workshop in one of the schools, right? And we were doing the assessment of CBSE answer sheets, CBSE grade answers, and on a AI tool. And the kind of response that AI tool was generating was very insightful. And let me say that today, if you give one question, let's say on commerce, and say what forms of companies are there, which is by Indian law, and then if you put an answer, and someone has missed something, then the AI chatbot will come and say, no, 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 this guy has put in two right points, but the third point is missing, and this is the third point. Now, once you start doing this thing at scale, right, personalized learning becomes at scale, and your drudgery also goes down, right? So what Gaurav has been cautioning here is it can be taken to scale. Sometimes it can be error, and you have to keep training the model, the AI tool, such that it reaches a sufficient level of accuracy. Gaurav, did I get that right?
I think especially for since current where the struggle is, right? So current large language models are able to write things, right? But sometimes they write wrong things as well, right? So they get hallucinated and just keep on writing. But I think as the time will pass, right, their reasoning abilities is improving. Right? If you look at into archive all the research papers which is getting published, I think we are just like a year or year and a half uh, from now, so let's say 2025, right? So it will be pretty easily will be able to cover like secondary education, maybe up to undergrad as well, right? So unless you
Got it.
are asking it to sort of do some kind of research, like a new thing, I think it will be able to cover all those things the way the Google has opened up with 1 million token input, right? So you can basically feed in the whole listening holiday into it, right? And then ask you to solve questions, right? So if you like done like 1,000 problems, right, on a particular topic, right, then my thing is that hopefully it will be able to deliver all these things. So these capabilities are increasing at exponential pace, right? OpenAI, when it came, it was like 1,000 token. Then 3.5 was 4,000 tokens, which means like you can fit in like 30, 40 pages, right? And then you can ask question. Google has taken it to 1 million. OpenAI will come with that. Their training model for 10 million. So like, so I think exponential increase in technological capabilities, and most of these problems, many good people are working on it, right? So it will be solved, right? So I think there will lot of impact on how people will derive knowledge and information, right? So earlier it was used to be book, then the search engine came, right? So now we are able to access all these research paper and whatnot, some blogs and things like that, with the generative AI coming to the picture, becoming one of the key components of our knowledge gain system, right? I think there will be huge impact coming in terms of personalized learning and whatever you want to learn. Right? So
Okay. So I come to my third question. And before I come to third question, I am opening a question for all my audience. In the chat box, if you can write down what challenges do you think you would face in implementing AI-based education? Right. So, everyone in the audience, if you can write down few of the challenges that you might be facing in implementing AI for education, right? But Gaurav, while they are thinking, the question I'm putting before you, in your, considered opinion, you have been working in the area of AI. What could be the challenges in integrating AI into a classroom?
Well, see, I don't see that you have a hardware constraint, right? I mean, the smartphones have grown as well. So it's
Yeah,
more about to be at the edge of the technology because the technology is upgrading very, very fast, right? So there
yeah,
has to
yeah.
be some educate the educator system where, you are at the edge of the technology using the right models. And one thing I will say, it's easier to say to an AI, write me a poem, right? You don't care what it writes. It just has to be rhythmic, right? It has to be like beautiful. But when you are asking some serious questions, right? How to explain the angular momentum to a child and it gives you a wrong answer, right? It includes something related to moment of inertia in the last paragraph, right? Then you have to be cautious, right? So there has to be a filtering mechanism on what you will accept, what you will not accept. So there has to be a responsible way of using it, right? So the key question is that given the access to all the information in the world, what question you ask, right? So you can ask anything you like. The way you will ask, the way you will get your answers, right? So that is what is called prompt engineering. So I think in terms of education, I think there will be companies will be built who will, come up with a curriculum for the educators also on how to actually use it in the correct way, right? Because they can ask any question and then, after a time you will not be knowing has it given you correct answer or not correct answer, right? Some of the things which you know can judge, right? Like I can judge about few things about physics, but suddenly it gives you some sort of engineering equation and things like that. I think that this is correct, right? But it may or may not be, right? So I think how to use it and is one of the thing where educators will also need some education because you see even the programmers are learning how to do it, right? KB Python mein how to do all these things, right? So it's a very very evolving, fast evolving field, not for the secondary education only, right? But for the programming as well, right? So you just have to try hard and get plugged in with the right technology and proceed from there.
Right. So Gaurav, well explained. Some of the things that Gaurav, one of the words that Gaurav has right now said has become one of the buzzwords, which is called prompt engineering. Right. So prompt engineering is basically garbage in, garbage out. The kind of prompt you give to your AI engine will give the quality, will determine the quality of the response that you're going to get from the AI engine. Right. So that's a whole new domain, and eventually what he's saying is that we have to become adept at giving the right prompts. Ask a better question and you get a better answer. Meanwhile, I'm scrolling at the chat. I have got some very interesting responses. Basically, there are responses which are falling in maybe three categories. First category is to educate the educators. So have more workshops with the educators on how to use or implement AI in the classroom. The second is all this thing around privacy and security, right? And I'm going to come to that question in a bit, Gaurav. And the third is around lack of resources, right? So if we have to create a AI-enabled classroom, then every classroom also need to have devices, computers, internet connections, and real-time access to AI engines and everything such that everyone is on the same page, right? Okay, right. So Urvashi is saying she's unable to unmute. I'm surprised. Okay, sorry. Okay. Urvashi, you want to add anything? You can unmute and speak. I didn't realize that mute all was pressed. You can unmute and speak. Urvashi Bhardwaj. I can't hear you. Okay, so I'm moving ahead. So proper training workshop for teachers, providing resources in the classroom, and then this whole issue of privacy, security, etc., which has to be managed, right? Can you try Urvashi again? Yeah, I did something reverse. Can you unmute now, Urvashi? Press the unmute button. Okay, so I'm moving forward with my next question to Gaurav sir, and this is around this whole thing around ethical considerations, responsible AI, etc., etc. Gaurav, your thoughts? I think you are on mute, Gaurav. You will have to unmute yourself.
Okay. Yeah, so
Yeah,
that's a very general problem the whole industry is facing, right? It's about the data security, privacy, and responsible use. Because what it is basically you are opening up such a powerful knowledge base where you can ask any question, right? So there has to be filters. Okay. Uh, so
and
that's
should there be
that's
filters?
there has to be filter, right? You cannot give access. So, for example, we build a chatbot for the insurance company, and then some of the agents are using it for some other purpose. Okay, so you provide a chatbot on your website for customer service or whatever, right? And then people coming and start doing some unwanted things, let's say,
Got
right?
it.
So there has to be a sort of filtering mechanism because it is you are giving access to sort of a god of information, right? So you have to control that in a way, and there has to be control mechanism in the place, right? So you cannot open up all the knowledge to everybody, right? Though they can do it privately, right? But they should be doing in the school environment or a system, right? So same for the companies apply, right? So we don't want the insurance companies to like the people coming and asking some personal detail about some particular insurer, right? So it has access to that information, it can just spit it out, right? So how do you build all that privacy, security, etc., is a big thing which is happening right now, and I think people are working on that, right? Misuse by students, you know, people can misuse things, but it shouldn't happen on the school premises, right? So that's where you need to have that checks, balances, and control. In a controlled environment, you have to play with the AI basically, yeah.
Any
And
scenario that you would like to play out of misuse in a school environment?
several came, right? I mean, people made some wrong kind of videos of celebrities, sort of posted on Twitter. This is like one of it, right? And especially in the teenage, people do all that, right? It's going to happen in the school.
Got it.
That's just come as a thought of mine. People will use, student can use to answer the questions and things like that. If it is like, if it is at least written submission, they can read from the screen and write, at least get something, right? But it is like a software submission, they just copy paste and they don't get anything, right? But yeah, so those kind of misuse will happen. I mean, see, any knowledge or power, whenever it is given, right, it is used at the same time will be misused. So as an educator, it's your responsibility is to how do you filter that and how you ensure that
Okay.
at least in the premises.
So, participants, can you unmute and speak with me? I think Urvashi is facing some challenge, but is this a challenge with everyone?
No, sir, we can unmute.
Okay, right, because I was a bit concerned, right? So, okay. There's a question by Mahua Dhur. How how can we get educated on AI basically, right? So, Mahua, I think these master classes and interactions could be are one of the ways. But Gaurav, if someone wants to get into self-learning mode, how can they start?
I think, see, it depends upon how you want to use it. But basically, I think just downloading Edge, log into Copilot, start asking questions, how it's responding. I think that's the first thing you should do, right? Without delay, actually. Yeah, because time is passing. And then you will, talk to people who are using it, through the collaboration, somebody will say, okay, ask like this, ask like this. So read some blogs or whatever happening in the Twitter, to start with actually, because Twitter is quite active. in terms of what's happening on the AI front, right? So you will come to know what exactly is happening, right? So Gemini model is down, the first will come on Twitter before it comes on any other Times of India or whatever, right? So I think at least you should start getting a feel of it, right? What it is. Try different things, right? Try create different kind of pictures. Try just ask the question the right way. I want to explain something to a kid who is 8 year old with a possible image showing this. Can you do that? Then see how it is responding, right? So basically, it's hit and trial way, at least you can begin with, right? And then definitely the people who have used it in a different way, they know what the definite outcome will come out of it, right? Then you can do some workshops and some readings. Maybe Sanjeeva sir can do some workshop on that, right? So he is power user, right? So he can share experiences. And this is how humans will learn, right? I
Okay,
think,
so
but
listen,
very exciting.
thanks, Gaurav, for that. And because you have prompted this like a smart prompt engineer, let me make this. Okay, as a follow-on to this, what we will do is we'll run a workshop, right? So I will work on one of the AI chat tools and see the use cases for education, right? So we can work on a particular grade, create some sort of a lesson plan, create question answers, also put some answer sheets to be assessed and those sort of stuff. How many of you are going to take this? If you are interested, if you can raise your hand, then we can really plan this out maybe in a fortnight from now. No takers? Okay. So Mandeep Kaur has raised hand. Okay, so I can see a few takers for this. We'll put this up. And I now move to my next question. But if you have any question around responsible AI ethics you want to pose to Gaurav sir, you can unmute and ask your question right now. Anyone who wants to pose this? Yeah, Vandana Lal, we will do this after the exam season sometime. So we'll, on the WhatsApp group, we'll finalize some date and then we can interact on, do an interactive session on using any of these tools. But any question around responsible use of AI, around ethics, ethical considerations you want to pose to Gaurav sir? I have, but if anyone wants to. Okay, so I move to my next question with Gaurav sir, and this is this is the question which is very close to my heart, which is uh, what could be. So we talked of use case
Sir,
of create. Yeah, Vandana.
I would like to answer that question. It was a very good question which you asked. Uh, so basically, we are learning Adobe. So there we came to know
Mhm.
that we cannot use the name of a any particular brand or any particular mascot which is having a copyright.
Yeah,
If we are
right.
choosing, yeah, so that is ethical concern, that we cannot use anything which is of a copyright into and use that image in Adobe.
Yeah. Of course. And I think there are a number of ethical concerns which are there, and everything is emanating. So, one sort of ethical concerns are emanating from this whole thing around intellectual property, right? So, who created? So, let's say Newton created knowledge. Now, that knowledge has gone into AI engine, and then AI engine is going to build and now creates a new law. Then, who gets the copyright for that or intellectual property ownership for that? So, that's one side of the large debate, right, which is going on. The other side of the large debate is around this whole thing called privacy and security. So today, some of you can put a AI tool and then you can have my voice and my face mimicked, and then it can be used to create a video, another content around youth hackathon, and it can be floated to students as a video based competition, and then it goes. Now, this is where a lot of second sort of debate is going on, and we have seen few cases where all this has happened. And the third use case, the abuse, let's say, is because we are dealing with children in school and they are in the adolescent age, right? One of my friends, for example, his son got duped of in Hong Kong of $40,000, where someone lured him into doing some crypto trading, and at the other end, actually, there was no crypto platform, right? So all those sort of concerns are getting, are coming out, and regulators today, all the police or authorities, they still are searching for good answers. They still don't know where the answer lies, how to catch the thief, how to catch the someone who is on the who is abusing the law, right? So that's the dilemma that educators will have to face. Those are the things that we need to bring to our students in the classroom, and we really need to inculcate this whole a spirit of ethics, right? Ethics is on one side. When I was growing up, it was all moral science and everything, but today this debate becomes far more important, because it's on one end it's easy to track that who's the culprit, and on the other end there is a lot of large number of people who stand the risk of being vulnerable. So I don't have any answers. I'm only raising some of the concerns the way I understand, and I'm bringing on the table. But let me take this whole presence of Gaurav and ask another important question. And Gaurav, we looked at this whole thing called content creation, assessment, personalization of learning. Any other use cases that you think would be there for AI in education sector? And I'm thinking of Gaurav as an innovator.
I think I think you see when the search engine came in basically, right? So it opened up a new avenue of learning in the similar way. When the YouTube came, right? So there are a lot of educators who were put in the videos and people started learning from there. In the same way, I think it will happen at a scale quite different and powerful, that you will see new kind of explanation, new kind of videos, output coming in, new kind of blog posts coming out of it. So a lot of content creation is definitely, I can't think of much, but I think at the speed it will happen, the personalized learning which you already mentioned is there. There has to be you very rightly said about, there has to be control, and governments are still thinking about how to actually bring in a ethical manner, right? So that is one aspect where a lot of controls needs to be built in, what access to be given, not given, and things like that. That is one area. Uh, maybe, yeah. So basically, it's like you will get connected to the knowledge base if you
Okay,
ask
I have
anything.
a question. Let me
Yeah.
rephrase my question, Gaurav. And this is the question for all the educators out here also. So whatever I'm posing the question to Gaurav is also a question for all of you. And the question is the dilemma that I always keep on having is, are is the education system in India
Hmm.
going to produce consumers of AI or builders of AI? Or
Well,
what should be done to produce builders of AI?
yeah. So that's a valid question, right? So I'll be very happy first that if the education system is even able to produce consumers of AI in the first place. Okay. When I say consumer, it has two components, right? So you're not consuming like AI created videos, right? Just for entertainment purpose. So we are talking serious education, secondary education, for example, I take, right? So you are actually using AI to enhance your skill set. You are using AI to enhance your understanding, right? You are using AI to create more knowledge graph inside your particular topic or whatever is your interest in, right? I think that is the consumer side of it, right? Not at the victim side of it, where just using AI or whatever to just divert your time to things like that. Okay, those are the people. I think surely now, if you look at India, you said, right. So the paper who wrote the guy who wrote the paper for the transformer, It says attention is all you need, on which the GPT-4 is based on, right? That's a research paper is by an Indian guy, by the way. Okay. Uh, I forgot his name, but he's an Indian guy. Okay, so there are a lot of Indian people there, right? You have Satya Nadella who understand the potential and things like that. But is it happening in India? Probably not, because the fundamental model development is clearly not happening in India, because it requires immense amount of resources, right? If you want to train the model at that level, you need like millions and millions of dollar of cloud computing credits and things like that, right? But I think India has been also very good at catching up with the things, right? So there will be people with that kind of resources, all these big boys like Microsoft, OpenAI, now also Google, Adobe, Apple, etc. will do some of these things initially. Then when it will come to implementing into the consumer layer, I think that is where the India will play a role. And definitely, I am uh, very, very positive that that is where the India will start contributing to these things, right?
What
But
can schools do?
schools have to see that when the calculator were invented, I was looking at the internet, the teachers were like protesting that is no, not allowed in the school and things like that. People will use it any which ways, right? So I take the example of Finland. They allow students to use calculator because, and if you know, when they go to United States, basically in the maths, those are the guys who are scoring 100%, right? Because if there is a tool which can ease the things, see, I think we as a human beings will become more and more technology driven going forward, right? Just go back 15 years ago. There was like we used to go to the cyber cafe and dial the internet, right? I used to think like if I open my email account in this cyber cafe, I have to come there to check my email only. Okay, I was not aware that you can actually check it from anywhere. So 15 years, a lot of things have changed, right? So the more exposure the students will have with the technology, of course, in the good sense, right? That's the challenge, right? Technology opens up a lot of avenues. Then how do you concentrate a particular energy in the mind of the student, right? And this is how you should think about this and use it, right? So I think that is where the educators will come in, right? You need to basically you need educators who are able to figure that out, that how a children can. The question is that how I can use this new tech to enable my students to learn more efficiently. How I can use this tech and communicate to them how to use it to make them smarter than what they are reading in the NCERT books, for example. Yeah. So if you
Right.
pose yourself this question, basically you will come up with an answer in a responsible manner. Then you can then open up the new avenues for children to think. Because if it, I'm telling you that people who are not going to adopt to this, right? Just imagine that you did not adopt to the Google, you will never do Google search, right? And the people who are doing Google, search in a creative way or for the learning purpose, what the difference is, right? So similarly, I think this tech will have enormous impact, and we should get students to use it in a correct way, and the teachers should ask this question, that how they can enable this transformation, right? So
So this is the last question to you, Gaurav, and very briefly, if you can. So, and I'm looking at the chat, and I'm also looking at some great responses where I want everyone to look at the great responses, and we'll put up some of those responses in the WhatsApp community that we have. Look, I am a teacher, and I am posted in, let's say, Korba in Madhya Pradesh. What is my starting point? How do I learn all this?
the I mean, nowadays people are making YouTube videos in maybe some other remote location than Korba, right? So technology is available on the phone, right? It's only your willingness to sort of adopt to it and experience it, right? So it becomes so easy. Everybody is able to do Google search. Everybody is able to do WhatsApp. Everybody is able to do. So technology has opened up those. So I don't think there is any more such restrictions anymore, right?
Got it.
And those are the people when comes on the platform do many creative things. Like you look at Africa cases, the way they have invented M-Pesa or something where you can send money through SMS, right? So all these use cases will happen, right? And I think with so many Indian users with the smartphone capabilities growing day by day, I don't think hardware and remoteness is a challenge anymore.
Okay, I think fair enough, and Gaurav has done justice to this session. Can we give a round of applause for the great insight that he has given? And I also we'll also do a follow-on session on how to use some of these AI tools for this family of educators that we are interacting with. We'll also create some short videos on how to go about using Mahua Dhurmam, such that, on a YouTube video where it could be self-explanatory how to get started, right? So with that, we come to a closure. Before I close, one last announcement that I wanted to make is that we will have this monthly, masterclass sessions for educators, and we'll be happy if you can spread the message in your community. We want to engage with more educators. Number two, we have the World Bank financial literacy quiz coming up from Think Startup family in the month of March, April. So we will need your help to get that propagation. And the third is that this year we'll start the engagement on Youth Hackathon earlier, and there will be changes in the structure of the Youth Hackathon competition. So we want to remain engaged and work together together, you and us, to make the learning journey happy for our students. So thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you, sir.
Gaurav, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.